Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and apparently a video I've made in the last couple days upset a lot of people. In fact, not only did I get a bunch of hateful comments that I went through and deleted, of course, or just banned people. You guys need to remember, I don't delete comments, I just ban people flat out when they become too offensive, and that way they can't post at all, and they just think that I'm deleting their comments. They're just banned, actually. And even some people, a few channels, made some videos angry at me, which kind of got sent to me by other fans and things that I saw. And so let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on my crafting skills a little bit, and let's talk about this. So yeah, I called bodybuilding a death cult. And the reason I say things like that is that I've learned that the younger generation, that millennials, require you to speak in hyperbole to get a message through. You guys speak in hyperbole. Sorry, I'm mispronouncing that. Hyperbole. A lot of people don't know I'm hearing impaired, so I say stuff really funny sometimes. And that's okay. At least I find it amusing, if no one else does. You guys speak to each other in hyperbole, and accordingly, if I don't communicate in the same way, people don't get the message across. You have to make everything sound so extreme. But in this case, when I talk about bodybuilding, I'm talking about actual competitive bodybuilding. Everyone else is just working out. You guys might work out really hard. You might have a whole fitness lifestyle. But bodybuilding, one word, it's not bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is a competitive endeavor. It is literally a death cult. And a lot of the people who got really, really upset about it and, calling me a loser and everything, but I'm kind of like, well, wait a minute, I'm the one making a public message, and you guys are the ones watching it and responding, so I don't know what that makes you if I'm a loser. But that being said, I think it upset a lot of people because it really struck close to home. There are a lot of people out there in this community who have a lot of emotional interest vested into this topic. Bodybuilding is a really serious thing to them. They're either massive fans or trying to become bodybuilders. Because YouTube Fitness has promoted bodybuilding. The Matt Oguses and the Rich Pianas and everything else have convinced people that they should consider competing. And in reality, competitive bodybuilding is destructive. It's not useful. It's not helpful. It actually has no redeeming qualities whatsoever. Now, some people will say, but it promotes working out. So therefore, because it promotes working out, there's at least a positive element to it. And that would be like me saying that severe alcoholics who drink to the point to where they destroy their liver are promoting something positive. There's a positive element still, because we have studies that show that a glass of wine before bed every night can improve heart health. So because that's a glass of wine before bed can be healthy, then these alcoholics still have at least some positive message because they're promoting people drinking wine before bed, maybe. That's the level of logic being used there. There's nothing positive being promoted by bodybuilding. Generally, it's training to excess to the point, with bad exercise form oftentimes, to the point to where people injure themselves, beat themselves up, and their entire life revolves around being in the gym. That's one of the negative things it promotes. It promotes using excessive amounts of drugs, not just casual use. I mean, that's the big difference, guys. I'm not against casual use of anabolics for adults who are old enough to make their own decisions, who do research, who get blood work done with a doctor, who make a choice to use moderate amounts to achieve whatever goal it is they want to achieve, a fitness goal, body composition goal, a strength goal. You know what? You're grown adults. That's not the same thing. It's not the same for guys who use a little bit of gear, particularly who get blood work done, versus what pro bodybuilders use. They're night and day. Again, you're comparing the glass of wine before bed with the raging alcoholic who's destroyed his liver. That's the difference between conservative anabolic use and competitive bodybuilding. And sometimes even natural bodybuilding are using excessive, dangerous, abusive amounts. So, big difference there. It also promotes unrealistic body standards that all of these young men can't obtain. The same thing that has been said of these wayfish models who have anorexia and starve themselves, the same message that was talked about for women for years, giving them these unobtainable images, these unobtainable body types, and to the point where women are developing eating disorders. Bodybuilding has now done the same thing for young men. It is the exact same thing. It's giving them impossible to achieve results for those who aren't genetically gifted enough and or who are not willing to use enough drugs to reach that goal. And it sets them up for disappointment. And it's the thing is, it would be one thing if it purely motivated people to work hard at something. It doesn't. It promotes people to try to strive for something that is actually physically obtainable. That would be like me trying to convince you that, look, if you just jump and train and learn to jump high enough, you'll be able to reach the moon or some silly nonsense. It's an unobtainable goal for them without the excessive drugs and without the genetics. Just like it's an unobtainable goal for you to reach the moon without a spaceship. And no amount of leaping or jumping is going to get you there, but then you say, well, it caused them to jump more and it got them in better shape and they've increased their vertical leap, so it's a good thing. But not if they had their heart set on reaching the moon because they were convinced that it was possible. And it does a lot of that. And there's still a large segment of the population who don't understand, for some reason, young guys, because they read all the ads, they think supplements and stuff actually work and they're the big part of it, that these bodybuilders aren't all on excessive, mind-boggling amount of drugs. And then what really happens, these guys train, and I see guys do it, they say, okay, well, I'm going to use drugs too. They go do their first little blast of testosterone. They make pretty good gains, but then they realize, well, I don't look anything like Ronnie Coleman. I'm going to double my dose. And they run another cycle, and they're still 100 pounds of muscle short of Ronnie Coleman. And then they double the dose again, and they're still 95 pounds of muscle short of Ronnie Coleman or whatever Phil Heath or whoever it is they look up to. You guys see the problem here? Because these guys oftentimes have $30,000 a year drug bills. That's more than some of you younger guys even make after taxes. That's more than your net income every year is their drug bill. And they're genetically gifted. So it's creating a standard that's impossible for young men to reach. It promotes emaciation, including even the natural bodybuilding. It is basically promoting the equivalent of male anorexia. Starving yourself down to an impossible to obtain, or not obtain, it can be attained, but an unmaintainable body fat because they're convinced that they'll look amazing and their life will be happy when they reach that. And you do see a lot of cases of that develop out of bodybuilding fans who get obsessed with this. They, just like an anorexic becomes convinced that when she reaches that perfect body weight and that perfect body fat, that everything in her life is going to be wonderful, that it's going to fix all of her life problems. And you see these young men who get caught up in the same mindset. If I just get to a 17-inch or an 18-inch arm while it's 6% body fat with deep abs, my life is going to be perfect finally. Everything that's wrong with my life is going to be fixed, it's going to be right, and I'm finally going to be happy. But guess what? You won't be. It doesn't work that way. And the ones who obtain it then find out all of a sudden they're not happy. They want more. They want something else. They keep trying to fill that hole inside with the wrong things. So it absolutely promotes eating disorders, body image disorders, mental illness. And it promotes a lifestyle that's dangerous. I mean, the level of body fats that these men get to, even though they have muscle mass, is still like anorexia. You're still reaching anorexic levels of body fat with the same organ damage, potentially the same hormonal damage, the same mental problems and everything else that come along with it. And there's plenty of data on that. Look at Eric Helms' data of all these contest bodybuilders when he was doing his doctoral work. Their blood work looked horrific. Even these natural bodybuilders who dieted down contest lean, their blood work was a nightmare. These people hurt themselves. And bodybuilding is harmful in general. And not just that, at the end of the day, then what's it used to do? Why is the only reason it exists? Because the supplement companies sponsor it and prop it up. That's what Joe Weider did. He used it to build a supplement empire. It's still done today. So then on top of all of that, all the harm that it causes in general is then used to market and sell supplements that people oftentimes can't even really afford, particularly these younger guys. They have to make sacrifices to afford these things. And you know what? These supplements don't do shit. None of these guys built their physiques with these supplements. They built them with drugs, great genetics, and lifting weights. And the lifting weights is the least important in the equation, to be fair. Once you go on enough drugs and you're genetically gifted, You see guys trained who are lazy. You see guys trained who bust their ass. I mean, and everything in between. You see guys who use vastly different styles, and yet they all get enormous, massive, and ripped. Because at a certain threshold, how you train becomes less important than how many drugs you're on and what your genetics are like. And that's why they have such a big margin for error, that they can adopt just about any style that they really want. They'll reach their goals because they're gifted enough genetically and they're using enough drugs. Not saying those who train harder might not gain a little more, because they probably will. You know, I don't want to rule out hard work at all, because hard work is important for anything in life, but not everyone has to work as hard as everyone else to reach or surpass the same goal in life. That's reality. That is the real world. There are plenty of people out there who work less hard than some of you do who make $1 million a year. They got lucky in some way, or they're gifted in some way, either inherited money or they just have a natural talent and ability for something that allowed them to make money with ease. That's just life. Not saying they didn't put in work, but not everyone works as hard as everyone else to reach something. Different people have different abilities, gifts, and lots in life. So, that being said, it is basically a death cult. It is self-destructive to the people who do it. It is self-destructive for the people who get inspired by it. And it offers almost nothing of redeeming value, because you know what? People go to the gym who don't care about bodybuilding at all. So when people make this idea, well, at least it gets people in the gym. No, it doesn't. The people who get inspired by bodybuilding, the vast majority already go to the gym. They're introduced to bodybuilding at the gym. And it doesn't promote a healthy, fit lifestyle. It promotes an excessive, obsessive, unhealthy lifestyle. And it's just not necessary to do that to have a healthy, fit lifestyle. And you know what? And a lot of people really take offense to that. They really get upset that I'm attacking their sacred cow. And you know what? If you're really getting upset because of the things that I say about bodybuilding, maybe it's not because of the fact that you hate me or you don't like me. Maybe you do hate me. And you know what? That's okay. It's okay to hate me. A lot of people hate me. A lot of people love me. A lot of people hate me. But if it's upsetting you that much, you might want to factor in, is it upsetting you because I really struck a chord because it's really close to home? Because it is. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.